And I want to know if you could only choose one word to describe the movie, what would it be?
One word to describe Dune Part 2.
Yes.
Let's go to the next question. I will think about that one.
Okay. What is the most difficult about building this movie?
That I would say it was to make sure that people will not have seen Part 1 will absolutely understand Part 2. So I tried to make sure that at the beginning of the movie you have a little recap of Part 1, so you know enough so you can enjoy the second part. And it's also the most difficult thing was technically. In Part 1 we spent a few days in the desert. In Part 2 we spent weeks, if not months, in the deep desert. So technically it was taxing physically.
And what was the first thing you thought when you watched the whole movie film?
A deep sense of relief and beautiful melancholic emotion about it's mixed emotions, because it's a very old dream, and to think that I finally have done it, it was like very moving for me. But the mix of emotions that I'm still digesting today. I just finished a movie not a long time ago.
With this film, you said you have achieved one of the rarest dream of 13-year-old Danny. So what can you tell him?
Don't be too harsh. It was not easy.
Do you have any favorite scene?
Of course, there are many moments in the movie, but I will tell you one. I'm part of the writers, so I co-wrote the screenplay, and I made sure that I was fascinated by every single scene. There's not a scene that I don't like in this movie, meaning that I wanted to be inspired. I worked hard on the screenplay, so to make sure that I will be be inspired by each scene. I knew that it would be a journey, a long journey, and I would need I could not afford to shoot something that I don't believe in.
I think that you are a great director. So, did you experience any fear? Because the movie also talks about fear and facing the fear in life. So, do you have any fear before filming this movie?
Of course, it's like it was by far the biggest challenge, technical challenge I ever attempt in my life, and there was like there's always as a film director, it would be a life. I tell you that I was not afraid many times about about the challenges, about if we would have the right weather, if I would be able to bring out what I wanted from the actors. The directing, it's being in constant friction with reality and trying to create dreams out of reality. So it's like there's a lot of tension. Yeah.
And tell us the truth. What's your favorite, Dune Part 2 or 1?
Frankly, the truth, I will definitely say Dune Part 2 is my favorite.
And how did you work the relation between Timothy and you for building the relation between mentor and student?
I think that existed anyway. I think because Timothy was coming into this production kind of wide-eyed and vulnerable, I think it's just my natural instinct to say it's all going to be okay and just calm down and don't think about the budget and don't think about all that, and focus on the work. And I think that, and I think also Timothy had a lot of conversations with Denis, and I had a lot of conversations with Denis. But then when you show up and you do a scene together, I think what Denis hopes for is something very organic, so he doesn't want to over-rehearse it.
Okay, and what was the most complicated scene to act in this movie for you?
For me, it was a scene on top of a dune looking down at the encampment. And I don't know why I didn't envision that scene in that way. And it was much more personal than what I had envisioned. And I was very, very happy with it. Even though it was uncomfortable doing it and there was an uncertainty in doing it, I think that where Denis took it was absolutely spot on.
What's your favorite character in this movie? Not you, please.
My favorite character in this movie is probably the character that Austin played, Fate Rauta. And yeah, I think he did an incredible job. I think it's a really interesting character. It's a fun character. Yeah, I think that one.